morning and welcome to Football Friday Night alongside Jason Geyser. I'm Dave Sisesky. Week 7 already, and we begin in the mighty MAC.
It is no surprise when that conference boasts both of our area's top-ranked teams in the state polls, especially when those teams hail from perennial powerhouses Coldwater and Marion local.
Coldwater sitting atop Division 5 on the road this week, taking on St. John's. Both teams coming off blowout victories. Cavaliers a 49-0 win over Parkway. St. John's 41-13 over Anna. First quarter, St. John's moving. Grant Alm to Connor Gainier, weaving in and out of traffic, then down the sidelines. He'd move the chains. How about the same pair again? Not exactly the same play, but up the middle this time. Alm to Gainier again for the first down, but no points from the drive. Now to Marcel Blazing Game. Takes it all by himself up the middle. QB keeper and to the score. Pat blocked. PAT blocks 6-0 Cavaliers up early. Second quarter now. Action from Alm to Nathan Ditto going up for it. However, Blade Boucher, huge hit. Everybody is okay on that play. And right before the half, Luke Sudoff in for a score. Coldwater wins this one 34-3. Here's the rest of the action across the area. Marion local 47-0 over Fort Recovery in Minster. Picks up a 48-20 win over Parkway. Cardinals also over the Redskins 62-27. And Versailles wins convincingly. Check that out, 49-14. Now here's Tony Quach with a big showdown from the BBC.
Thanks, David. The Macomb Panthers and the Arlington Red Devils are 2 of 3 teams in the Blanchard Valley Conference that have scored over 200 points this season. Both teams enter tonight 4-0 in league play, and the winner of this showdown would take over first place of the BBC. That's why this game is our Football Friday Night Spotlight game.
The Football Friday Night Spotlight game is brought to you by D&D Trucking.
The Panthers defeated the Red Devils not once, but twice last season. And in both games, Macomb held Arlington scoreless. The Red Devils are out for a measure of revenge against these Panthers, who knocked them out of the opening round of the playoffs in 2021. Opening quarter on 3rd and 5, Jared Griggs shuffles it out to Caden Russell, and Russell moves the chains. He picks up a first down and a gain of 15 yards in the process. Panthers putting the pressure on. Andrew Swisher stops this Red Devil in his tracks. Arlington will turn it over on downs. Now it's time for Macomb to get on the board. Braxton Althauser breaks out of the pack, takes it to the end zone for the TD. Panthers jump out to a 7-0 lead. And Althauser showing he can play defense too. He picks off this pass and takes it to the house. A 99-yard interception for Althauser. His pick 6 gives Macomb a 14-0 lead. They go on to win this game, 27-20. 2 more BBC teams with identical records clash on the gridiron as the Liberty Bend Eagles square off against the Riverdale Falcons. Both teams enter the night 4-2. Since joining the BBC in 2014, the Falcons have not defeated the Eagles once. LB has a 7-0 record against Riverdale entering tonight. We pick up the action in the second half. LB up 35-14. Cameron Garlock takes a snap, fires downfield, connects with his twin Lincoln Garlock. Touchdown Eagles. LB makes it 42-14 after the drive. The Eagles regain possession. Garlock breaks out of the pocket. He looks for a target. Garlock hits Kason Doolittle, and the Steiner brings it all the way to the 1-yard line. And on the very next play, Mason Ma takes the handoff, goes into the end zone. LB's lead grows to 35. Riverdale trying to fight back, but the Eagles are just too much for the Falcons. Brady Birkenmeyer gets the interception. LB takes this game 49-14. Here are the other scores from the BBC. Pandora Gilboa shuts out Van Buren on the road, 42-0. Ethan Luganbill with 208 rushing yards along with 2 touchdowns. Arcadia defends home turf against Corey Rawson. The Redskins defeated the Hornets 21-14. And our final score from the Blanchard Valley Conference sees North Baltimore taking down Van Loo at home 48-20.
Thanks, Tony. In the Northwest Conference, a pair of teams are out to 3-0 starts in league play. Allen East tonight looks to win a 4th straight, taking on a Jefferson squad coming off consecutive wins for the first time since 2017. The Jeff Cats get into the red zone. Well, that's not what's happening here at all. This is Allen East on their opening drive of the game, punching it in for a touchdown and a 7-0 lead. Then Trent Tiemann swings this pass out down the sideline for a big gain, and this is where Jefferson gets into the red zone, but then it's disaster. Tiemann's pass bounces off his intended receiver high in the air and right into Hirschberger's waiting arms. The senior, he's a playmaker, isn't going to settle for just the INT. The All-Ohio defensive back slices out to open space across midfield, changes direction, making some more guys miss. Hirschberger goes 78 yards and then earns another 11 with a penalty at the end of the run. 2 plays plays later, it's Jack Hole disappearing into the mass of humanity and coming out the other side, 14-0 Mustangs. Late in the first, it's 21-0 thanks to a Hirschberger pick six, and Allen East makes yet another big play. This time, it's Joseph Hole coming our way on the punt return down the sideline. He goes 83 yards the opposite direction, and Allen East rolls tonight, 62-6. Bluffton is the only other team to boast an unblemished record in NWC play. Just like the Mustangs, the Pirates tonight seek a fourth straight victory as they invade Leipzig, who's trying to stay in the title race following their first league loss. First quarter, Bluffton on a 3rd and 18. Takes Landon Wooster some effort to get out of the backfield, but once he does, look out. Slips a tackle inside the 40 and is never challenged again. Wooster makes the big play for the first score of the game. Bluffton looking for more a bit later in the opening frame, but Leipzig's defense is all over this one. Trent Siefker picks it off and tacks on a few more yards down the sideline. We move ahead to the second quarter, and Hayden Hegel pushes the home team in front. However, they wouldn't stay there. Bluffton wins on the road, 34-14. Someone's going to get a much-needed victory tonight at War Memorial. Ada's gone 0-3 to start the Northwest Conference campaign. So is their opponent from Spencerville, who tonight tries to avoid a 5th straight loss. We're tied at 14s late in the second. First play of the Bearcats' drive, Carter Lehman zips through the defenders before running out of room. It's a first down for the road team. And on the very next play, Josh Henline spots his receiver with separation. Dylan Short hauls it in. Bearcats take a 21-14 lead. But on the ensuing kickoff, the home crowd gets brought to their feet. Levi Green fields it, makes a man miss as he headed to the middle of the field. And now he's coming right toward us across midfield, slipping away from that guy and getting a big block from Jaden Bankston right there. Green takes it all the way back to tie the game, but Spencerville also has some magic before the half. Headline to Nate Coulter, and it's a double pass. Coulter was the QB last fall, and he hits Dylan Short to push the Bearcats in front. However, Ada wins this one, 33-28.
One more game in the NWC. This one wouldn't take place at this one would take place at Crestview. CG coming off a dominating shutout victory over Leipzig and right behind Allen East and Bluffton for that top spot. First drive didn't go as planned for Crestview. Ball disappears and suddenly in the arms of Kyle Lathrop, who scores. 7-0 CG on the scoop and score. Bulldogs at it again, this time on offense. Brenton Renner hands off to Trenton Barraza, who says, I got this, takes it all the way into the end zone. Barraza turning into a track star, getting gold on that play. CG wins this one 31-6. We need to take our first break here on Football Friday Night. When we come back, we check out some track action and work our way through the WBL. Stick around. Welcome back. Lima Senior looking for their first conference victory in the Three Rivers Athletic Conference this season. Spartans on the road at Whitmer, who is tied for the conference lead with Central Catholic. So back-to-back weeks where Lima Senior will be forced to face top competition. Tough task for the Spartans. Lima Senior early here. Aiden Howard's going to unfortunately throw an interception in that opening drive to Caleb Cope. Whitmer's going to capitalize with a touchdown run here after that turnover by Taryn Crawford. 7-0 Whitmer at that point. Later in the first quarter, we're going to move ahead after this touchdown. Just a tough first quarter there for Lima Senior. Later first quarter, Whitmer up 14-0 now, and they'd add to it. Armin Bowman for the touchdown to make it 21-0. Whitmer wins big, 55-6.
Finley tonight tries to ride the momentum from last week's last-second thriller over their rivals from Fremont Ross. The Trojans are back on the road, taking on 1-5 St. Francis at the Glass Bowl. Finley gets on the board first. Ryan Montgomery showing the touch that has him being recruited by all the college football's big boys. He hits Reese Little for a 7-0 lead. St. Francis looking to answer on their next drive, but Hudson Goebel steps in front of it and has nothing but daylight in front of him. He takes it all the way back for the score. Finley forces their way through the Glass City like a brick, winning 48-17.
Now to the WBL and co-leader Wapakoneta. Wapak on the road at Kraft Stadium as they take on 4-2 Elida, who's looking to rebound from last week's 31-14 loss against Defiance. Move to the third quarter, Caleb Moyer getting pressure. He's going to roll out and eventually finds Grant Chally for the diving snag. Drive would stall out, however. Wapak defense getting involved. Nate Metzger gets the sack and is pumped up about it. And hey, why not, right? Jace Nose now would eventually break one in this game in the third quarter. However, goes down the sidelines behind his blockers to the 30, the 20, the 10, and is down inside the 5-yard line. Wapak wins this one convincingly 21-7. Let's keep it in to the cream of the WBL. The other co-leader, that's Van Wert Cougars hosting the Shawnee Indians. Shawnee looking for win number 2, and this was certainly asking a lot. Student section showing, though, they're pumped up. In this one, second half, Shawnee driving past to Keegan Wilson, who turns into Rocketeer with a jetpack all the way inside the 5-yard line. Next play, Chase Beery, direct snap and gets into the end zone. All-out effort there, and Will Van Wert making the highlight reel here, though, as well, right after QB rollout for Aiden Pratt, who's looking for someone, anybody. Connor Campbell juggles it, but hauls it in for the score. Cougars win this one 38-14.
Celina has really made their presence known since their 0-2 start to the season. The Bulldogs have won 4 straight and also sit just a game off the WBL lead. Tonight they visit OttawaGranger. Waning ticks of the second quarter. Titans down 14-0. Peyton Kuhlman decides to keep the pigskin in his own hands, break into the outside, find in the front corner of the end zone. It's a 14-7 game at halftime. Third quarter, Kuhlman's trying to march OG down for the tying touchdown, but this time Caden Merlin gets to him and sacks the QB for a 3-yard loss. Now late in the third, Celina looking for some breathing room. The ball, though, slips out of the Bulldogs' paws, and it's recovered by Jaden Steckschulte. OG has new life. Kuhlman to Carter, dueling for 19 yards, but Celina never lets them get the equalizer, winning by that 14-7 score. Defiance tonight rides a 3-game win streak into Bath. The homestanding Wildcats still looking for their first victory. Both bands putting on a show. Defiance rocking out to some Seeger. The Wildcats high school and junior high bands teaming up. They perform Script Bath for the home fans. I sit through a lot of half times. This was one of the most enjoyable. On the field, though, it's all Bulldogs. Late second, Craig Nichols dances his way in from a yard out. It's 21-0 at the half, and now this is Nichols on the opening kickoff of the second half. Yep. Untouched until he sits a Wildcat down on his way across midfield. Nichols takes it the distance, and Defiance hands Bath a third straight shutout loss, 35-0. Just one other game in the WBL this evening. St. Mary's blanks Kenton by a 55-0 count.
Well, we're set for our second and final break here on Football Friday Night. When we come back, NWCC action between a pair of teams hunting for the conference crown. Welcome back. One game on tap in the NWCC, and it happened to be a dandy on paper. As conference co-leader Hardin Northern hosting 4-2 Upper Scioto Valley. Rams coming off a dominant win over Perry 40-0 last week, but the Polar Bears will be a much tougher opponent. We start with the opening drive of the game. USV finds himself in the red zone, and they hand the rock to Ryan Roberts, who dives through a pile of bodies to break the plane, but the game's opening score at 6-0. Rams decide to go for 2. And they're going to hand it off to Alex Sanders, who's going to lower his shoulder, rejecting multiple defenders as he makes it 8-0 ball game. Now, following kickoff after this for Hardin Northern, big play. It's Brandon Grindell. Recovering, he has trouble handling the ball, but it's no problem for him. He sees the open lane, he turns on the jets. No one can stop him. He delivers it all the way for the spark down the sideline and gets the team the answer right back. He makes it 8-6. 2-point conversion for Hardin Northern. They line up. It's a pitch play to Carter Curtis, who virtually goes untouched as he converts the points, tying the game up at 8 apiece. Now, Hardin Northern drops this one, though, as Upper Scioto Valley wins 28-14. A few NWCC scores to get to as WG wins big over Crestline 62-8, and the Rockets hold on to win 30-21 over the Commodores.
Non-conference ball tonight. LCC gets a road victory at Lucas 26-23, and Fort Loramie wins a 1-score game over Columbus Academy 21-14. In the TRC, Riverside protects their home turf over Lehman Catholic 37-14. Central Buckeye Conference, Mad River Division, Indian Lake gets shut out at Urbana. Ben Logan loses to North Union 48-14. In the Kenton Trail Division, Bell Fountain wins a barn burner at Springfield Shawnee 53-32. Green Meadows Conference, Paulding loses at Hicksville 34-15, while Wayne Trace falls to Antwerp 28-6. And in the NWOAL, a battle of 4-2 teams sees Patrick Henry blow a 13-0 lead, losing 38-13 to Wauseon.
Well, that's how we wrap up Week 7 here on Football Friday Night. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks to everyone here who helps us put the show on the air each week.
David sitting in the chair tomorrow. Going to some college football for you. Finley hosts #1 ranked Ferris State, the defending champs. Bluffton hosts Franklin. Plus, we have the Buckeyes. Have a good weekend.